All right, now that we're done with part one, we will move on to part two. So this part of the lab is, just so you know, this is going to be normal for most of the labs, is we call this step zero. And step zero is how the lab looks before you ever came in. So that is how we enter the lab, and then that is how the lab should be left. So when you finish, because students start on step one, Mr. Farr starts on step zero. So get the lab all set up. It should look nice and neat like this, and then when you leave, it should also look very nice and neat and ready to rock and roll for the next students, okay? So whenever I'm going to put up, I'll put this up before, so you can see how the lab looks before, and then I will put this up after as well, and then that is your cue, and I'll say clean up, right? And we're going to return to zero. I'll probably get something that's a little bit cooler that says return to zero, but I had to get something together for today. Oh my goodness. Oh, we need to go back. Okay, cool. So here we are at the lab. I would say pause it, read through steps 1 through 3 on part number 2, and then we're going to go ahead and get rocking and rolling. I got everything here, and again, pause it and read it. That way you know what's going on. Okay, so we're going to fill in the data. So if you're not here, this is how you're going to get your data to answer questions 1 through 5 there. So if you look at, hopefully you have already paused it and read it. So what we're going to do is we're going to use this spring scale, and then we're going to find out how many, what is the weight of each bag, the small, medium, and the large in newtons, okay? So I'm going to go ahead and make myself larger there, boom, and then we're just going to go like this, and then I got the large bag, so it says large right here, boom. So we're going to put that on the scale. And the scale, if I read it correctly, it looks like it says 3 newtons. So if you can kind of read that, I'm not sure how well you can read it. It's kind of hard. I'm trying to get it at this level, but it actually does say 3 newtons there. Well, let it go down. 3 newtons. So that's what we're going to put for the large. So we'll go with 3 newtons there. Cool. So just go ahead and put that in there. 3 newtons. Make sure to put your, so now we're going to the medium, right? We're going to go to the medium. We're going to go ahead and put that on there. And then that one looks like, and you should try and read it eye level, that one looks like about 2 newtons. If you, I don't know if you guys can read that, but it looks like it's about 2 newtons. That's what we're going to put in for the medium, 2 newtons. Okay. And by the way, I should have double checked to make sure this was at 0, but students have been using it all day, and it is actually at 0. So actually, that's not good. This side, it's actually at 0, so it's good. Okay, then we're going to put the small one in there. We're going to go ahead and put that in there, and we'll see what it is. You want to try and calm it down just a little bit. It looks like about 1 newton. 1 newton, right? So we'll just go ahead and put that in there. So small was 1 newton. 2 was 2, medium was 2 newtons, and then large was 3 newtons. Okay, so now we're going to try a little bit of a harder one. I'm going to see if I can get you to be able to see this. Not for certain. So if you, hopefully you read that number 2, and what we're supposed to do is pull the bag across, right, like across the counter here. So we're going to do that just like this. And then you're trying to see how many Newton forces, right? How much force in newtons does it take to actually pull the bag? So for the small one, we got like this, and let's just see what we get. To me, it looks like 0.2. Actually 0.1. It was the very first one. So I'd say 0.1 newtons. Okay. Let's go for the. Now we're at. Let's find that medium. So now we're at medium. Totally cool. So as soon as I pull it, it starts to go down, and it looks like it's at about 0. I would say 0. Hold on. I'm gonna hold it right here, just so that we can see it. This is what it looks like. This is how far down it is. See if you can see that. All right. So it is. It looks like it's a. I gotta hold it up to see. 0. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So it looks like 0.5 to me. 0.5 newtons. That's what the force was for the medium bag. And then now we're going to the large. We're going to the large. Let's see what we got. Okay, so I'm going to grab it and hold it right here. That way we can get a good reading. You guys can read that. You might have to pause it so you can count it. Okay, but to me, that looked like a 0.8. 0.8. So 0.8 newtons. That's the force for the drag. Now we are on to the last thing. See, now this lab, it's not super crazy, so this lab's pretty easy. So now I'm going to get out the scale. I'm going to face it towards you guys so that way you guys can see it. Go ahead and turn this on, digital scale. It's sensitive, so it will only go up to what we would say is 220 grams. So all of these bags will not go up to 220, but you have to see if you can figure it out. Uh-oh. I'm going to go pause that real quick. What's up? That was my alarm that says, you need to go home, sir. So we're going to try and zero this thing out and see if we can get it to stop like wigging. It's got a lot of, so it looks like it's fluctuating. So we're going to see if we can get this thing to clear. So now if it does this, right, we're only talking about a 0.1 off. So that is going to be okay. It's not going to throw us off too much, okay? Typically oh, there it goes. Now it's at 0. So now we're going to go ahead and put the small one on there. Okay. The small one looks like it's at 100.28, and in that G, that means it's grams. So we're going to go ahead and put that on there. So I'm going to go with 100, and that's what I'm going to write for the small one, right in there for the mass in grams, 100.28 grams. All right, cool. Cool. Now, we're going to want to get this to be down to just one decimal place. So we're going to round it to 100.3 because that 8 is going to end up rounding that 2 up. So 5 or more up the score. So we're going to do that. We're going to do that. That way it is on the same amount of decimal places as our force. Okay, so that way you got the same amount of decimal places. This has 1, so we're going to go with 1 is here as well. Okay, all right, cool. So now we'll take that off. We want to press 0 again. If it doesn't go back to 0, I know this thing's a little bit touchy. Okay, there we are. So cool. So now we're on I accidentally put the large one on there. It says error load. That means we're not going to be able to use this one. So we're going to have to either use some sort of logic or some sort of math in order to figure it out. And I'm not going to tell you what that is in this video. You have to wait till tomorrow. So see if you can figure it out what this one is, the large one. The large one said an error. Now we're going to go to the medium one. Again, we're going to try and zero this thing out. And these things have been finicky today. So we're going to go ahead and put that on there. Okay. And it looks like 198.9. And see where it's fluctuating at? It's not really going above 198 point. Oh, so it's, see how it's like fluctuating right in that area? So I'm going to say it's around 198.9. And I'm gonna round it at 9 because should we round it up to 199.9? But see, then it goes back down. So what I'm gonna do is this. I'm gonna go ahead and put 198. Well, we're gonna do 198, and see how it starts going back down a little bit, and that's where I think its true number is at. So I'm gonna put 198.9 grams. Because it seems like it's lower. Every once in a while it gets up higher, but most of the numbers trending down in the lower edge. So because of that, that's what we're going to end up putting. So 198.9. Now, you will end up with your data table being full like this. This very last one, you can either use math or use some sort of logic in order to deduce what this missing piece of data approximately should be. All right. Well, that is everything for the lab today. All right, y'all. I will see you on the next one. And again, that lab was on page 15, and it is, just so you guys know, explore number 1 for Newton's third law. And where I got all the information is explore number 1, Newton's third law. And the name of the lab is How Can We Measure Forces? All right. So tomorrow we'll go over the questions for the lab, but that's it for today. Peace.